They met regularly, their conversations becoming a quiet anchor in the rhythm of their lives. He found himself drawn to her thoughtful nature, the way her mind engaged with ideas, the gentle warmth that occasionally softened her reserved demeanor. She, in turn, found a unique sense of peace in his company. For so long, her world had been shaped by a sense of duty, by the needs and expectations that seemed to constantly surround her. Her own thoughts, her own feelings, often felt secondary, less important in the face of what others required. She had become skilled at anticipating needs, at offering support, at ensuring harmony, a steady hand guiding a ship for everyone else's voyage.
I've mastered the quiet, the art of the small, a voice in the silence that echoes but never calls. I walk through the room like a whisper in air, a shadow, a watcher, but never quite there. It's just simpler to stay unseen, to let the world move without me. Somewhere inside, a voice still remains, buried and waiting beneath all the chains. If I spoke, if I stood, would it shatter the air? Or would someone turn? Would someone care? A life in the background, a life undefined, but maybe, just maybe, this life could be mine.
But with him, something felt different. He listened with a genuine desire to understand, not just to respond. He saw beyond the careful composure, the practiced smiles, to the bright spirit and insightful mind within. He asked questions that weren't about filling time, but about genuinely understanding her perspective, her inner landscape. Slowly, cautiously, she began to share parts of herself she had kept carefully guarded. She admitted, almost quietly, how often she minimized her own contributions, how she'd learned to temper her enthusiasm to avoid drawing undue attention. "It's just simpler," she'd explained, her gaze drifting, "to not stand out too much."
I watched, I listened, I measure, I wait, balancing moments, adjusting my weight, one step too forward, one word too strong, and the harmony falters. The rhythm is wrong. I keep the peace, I smooth the tide, hold back the storm I feel inside. But who is left when all is done? When the world is quiet, am I the only is truly my friend, or just a refuge I can't defend. I watch, I listen, I measure, I wait. But what if I chose a different fate?
He would gently counter this, not with forceful arguments, but with sincere observations. "But your insights are valuable," he'd say, his eyes meeting hers with a sincerity that resonated deeply. "Your perspective is needed, and your intelligence is a gift. Why keep it hidden?" His words were like a gentle rain on parched earth. She started to recognize patterns she hadn't fully acknowledged: the automatic self-deprecation, the reflexive deferrals, the constant awareness of others' reactions. It was a heavy weight, this unspoken obligation to always put others first. And for the first time, she felt a quiet yearning for something more, a quiet permission to simply be herself.
You speak and I hear not just words, but a light, a spark in the dark that feels steady and bright. You hold back your laughter, you temper your fire, afraid that the warmth might burn with desire. You are more than a shadow, more than a trace, more than reflections you're scared to embrace. You shine in the stillness, a quiet sunrise. It's time to believe in the light in your eyes. I see you, I hear you, I know you belong, not in the silence, but inside the song. More than a reflection, more than you knew, the world is waiting to see the real you.
He, meanwhile, found a quiet strength in their connection. He had been searching for something, a sense of purpose, a way to better use his own gifts. He had perhaps vaguely imagined it as finding a perfect reflection, someone who mirrored his own ideals. But she was no reflection. She was real, complex, and on her own path of discovery. Witnessing her growth was like observing a seed slowly sprouting. He saw the hesitant steps forward, the moments of self-doubt, the flicker of apprehension in her eyes. He understood the power of ingrained habits, the fear of disrupting the delicate balance she had maintained. He learned to be patient, to offer steady encouragement, to simply be a supportive presence as she navigated this new terrain.
Do you hear the words you keep inside? The ones you've learned to hide? But I see them. I hear them. and they shine like constellations in your mind. Why do you whisper when your thoughts could sing? Why do you hide when you were meant for wings? Your mind is a gift. Your voice is a light. You don't have to shrink to make others feel right. You are a story that's waiting to grow. Let it be heard. Let the whole world know. Step into the open, let the silence lift, because your mind is a gift.
One day, after she articulated a particularly insightful understanding of a complex situation, he had simply looked at her and said, "You have such a brilliant mind." The words resonated in the quiet space between them, and then, unexpectedly, tears welled in her eyes. Not tears of distress, but of a deeper emotion, something akin to relief. Later, she would tell him it was the first time someone had truly acknowledged her intellect, had valued her mind not just for its utility, but for its inherent worth. He found a quiet fulfillment in supporting her journey. He wasn't trying to direct her path or reshape her. He was simply offering a space of trust where she could explore her potential, without judgment or expectation. And in doing so, he was also finding a clearer sense of his own direction. The restless seeking for external validation began to fade. He was learning to appreciate the quiet power of genuine, platonic connection, the enduring strength of a true friendship built on mutual respect and understanding.
Yes. A glance, another measured space. I know my role, I know my place. Speak too loud, shine too bright. And suddenly, nothing feels right. Yes. The weight of expectation presses me down. A carefully balanced, unspoken crown. But how much of this did I create? And how much is just a locked iron gate? What if I push? What if I bend? What if I break free and never pretend? The weight of expectation is heavy, it's true, but maybe, just maybe, I'll break it in two.
There were moments of uncertainty, naturally. She sometimes worried about not meeting his unspoken expectations, about not being worthy of the value he placed in her. She acknowledged her ingrained tendency to prioritize others, her learned habit of seeking external approval. It was an intricate pattern of thought and feeling, but she was becoming increasingly aware of it, gently examining the threads, seeking to understand how to untangle them. He, in turn, felt a quiet concern at the thought of losing this bond, of her retreating back into old patterns, or simply drifting away. But he also understood deeply that their friendship was not about possession or dependence. It was about mutual growth, about seeing and being seen within the framework of a cherished and uplifting friendship.
One step forward, my voice in the air. Will they listen? Will they care? Spent too long in shadowed space, afraid of taking up too much place. But if I step forward, if I to take the lead, if I dare to show what I truly need, will I be seen? Will I be free? Will the world finally welcome me? Step forward, a breath, a start, listening now to my own heart.
One day, in a moment of quiet sincerity, he had said, almost thoughtfully, "I know we share a deep and meaningful friendship." She responded without hesitation. "We do," she affirmed, her voice soft yet firm. It wasn't a romantic sentiment, but a profound declaration of connection, of deep respect, of a bond that had taken root and was growing strong in its own unique and valuable way. They continued to walk forward, side by side as friends, without needing to define the future contours of their relationship. There were still unknowns, still paths to explore individually and perhaps together. But there was also a quiet certainty, a shared sense of purpose in lifting each other, and the steadfast understanding that in simply being authentic with each other and truly seeing each other as they were meant to be, they were both becoming more fully themselves. And that, in its simple purity, was profoundly meaningful. For now, it was deeply and gratefully sufficient.
No need for a label, no need for a plan. Just two voices, two lives, hand in hand. We've both been searching, we've both been lost, but we found something worth the cause. define. The road is uncertain, but that's just fine. Step by step, step by step, side by side, no longer needing to run or to hide. We walk together, voices strong, finally knowing where we belong.